Hey you, so on this episode of How Much Will This Coin Appreciate in Price, I'm going to be speaking on this coin right here. Now, I'm going to be focusing mainly on the silver proof, but I will be talking about them as a whole, so involving the gold and the silver BU, but the one I'm talking about specifically on appreciating in price is going to be mainly about the silver proof coin. Now, I'll get into why I ended up picking up this coin, how well it's been since I picked up the coin, where do I think it will go, and give some type of insight to individuals that may have been interested in seeing a collector coin that came out and how well it's done. Say a year or so since its release. So this was released in 2017. A lot of the details regarding this coin and even who mints it were kept rather cloak and dagger, so meaning it's not public, and I think that's the way they wanted it. But we know they're made or by the Mayor Mint, the same guys that brought you the animal wildlife coins. So you got the standard wildlife coins where they got various animals every year. I think they came out starting in 2008. It's been from the same guys. I'm just trying to get this out of the capsule so maybe we can get a better view. That brought us those. They've wanted to keep themselves hush. They didn't want to really play on it. It's not done by one of the big massive major mints. It's one of those gimmicky, Rwandan denomination coins. So they're made in Germany. We don't know the actual guys that own the paint and all, stuff, getting all of these denominations and stuff, but the Maya Mint produces these coins and we don't know the actual physical owners. They are pretty decent. So they already had the wildlife series with the different animals, and then they came along with this coin. So they started their own lunar series. Stunning piece, and it caught my attention straight away. So looking at the coin here, we can see they done something rather radical and different. They came out with the mosaic tiles in the background, which really made it stand out. I think they came up with a very strong design on the rooster. Now, who would have thought you could have had a rooster looking good? I think for me, what stood out is just how different it was. It was different, and the mintages were favorable. So they came along bringing that model. I don't know if it was already done by many other dealers or mints. I'm sure it was, but that caught my eye. It was these guys. So they had a different looking coin that I thought looked real pop arty, real nice and radical, just a breath of fresh air. So these went out a little while before I actually locked in. A few dealers had them. It would be coins I'd be scrolling past, and this was a prime, perfect example of a coin that you actually needed to have in hand to really appreciate and see. As you can see, some areas are more polished than others. This is the BU version here, so depending on how you catch it on the light, it really does strike out and pop out at you, so you can really see it there. I'm not sure if the lighting in the background's really taking effect. So I was cruising about on the sites as you do, and just constantly coming across them. All were available at the time. There was no hype rush, and we'll get into that in a moment. And I'd gone over them, seen them. I believe I even saw an individual doing a picture or even unboxing of the silver BU. Then once seen in video, I thought to myself, let me take a punt. So I actually ordered one of the gold and the silver proof. Now, once in hand, I saw the potential, and I'd already seen the selling point of the gold being on a low mintage or 100 mintage, very favorable for me, I believed. At the time, I knew it was one of those coins. I know a lot of the Somali elephants done even lower mintages, but I think it's one of those coins where if you bring out a low mintage on one coin, my own personal thoughts here, if you haven't got something to carry that coin through, i.e. it's like a pyramid, the way I see it. So, you have the BU that helps everybody get involved. So at some point, you can either start at the top if you can get the gold. If you can't get that, you get the next best, which is the silver proof. And if you can't get that but love the design, then you can get the BU. So there's something there for everybody. I feel it can really work. Whereas if you bring out the coin and just the gold at 50, it's going to have less mass appeal. That's just my own way of looking and seeing it. So with that model, I knew it would be a hit regardless, because it was such a nice, fancy design. Tongues were wagging already on this. So I'd locked in, and at that point, I then started to secure and lock in more pieces. and I knew the gold was going to be my gameplay and the silver proofs. Now, at that time, I was speaking with dealers and I had a lot of information on the coins. I mean, one dealer down there, remembering these are on 100. So that's for the gold. One dealer had damn near 25 plus of the coins. At the time, they wasn't massive with Atmex and Co because it wasn't a coin on their radar. They've got many new coins that come out. I'm sure they do take a punt, but it wasn't a coin that they literally wanted. So the dealer had many. So I was able to secure as many as possible. I then put out my first video on these coins. Now, it's one of the reasons why I'm not too keen on. I was happy in ego. I wanted to put out there the coin I'd gotten, the coin I thought would go on to do great and to share with individuals. That is what I believe single-handedly triggered the beginning of the frenzy, because prior to that, dealers had them at reasonable prices and, it wasn't the dealer greed. This is the first coin that I experienced and saw that firsthand. I do know after I released my first video showing these coins, the dealer I got them with damn near sold out. And that was thanks to myself. But what happened then is I saw dealers changing, whereas they had then a hot coin on their hand. Prices started to increase, understandably. But if it was sitting about for a long time prior, just my own way of thinking here, you would have thought the dealer would have just let the individual, cash in and have more of the fun. If they wanted to increase prices, they would have done that from the start, but they didn't do that over the hand. And it went on to cause the frenzy then. Then individuals started paying more attention, chain reaction off the videos. Atmex were able to then secure some themselves, and then we started seeing the crazy prices. This was the first coin that I picked up that actually done that. So when we're looking at how much this coin will appreciate in price, this coin spiked in price damn near after release. I'd say a month after release or under, we started seeing insane price on the coin because demand was really kicking in for these. The silver proofs, there was high demand for them. This piece here, the golds were damn near selling out, and dealers had put on a very large premium comparison to what they were worth. Straight after it was out that this was an in-demand coin, and what really benefited from that was the nautical series, but we'll get into that at another date. So I was able to secure these and the price shot up. That is a good and a bad thing, because it was one of the first coins that I took full advantage of when it came to flipping. So I had picked up a large number of the golds and the silver proofs, and I cashed in more than half at the top of the peak of the prices. And where was that? Did I know this was going to happen? I knew it was going to happen. It was a first lunar coin that I thought, in terms of breath of fresh air, could easily be up there with the silver and perf mint lunars, and the model, as I've mentioned many times, of just one across the range. A 1 ounce in gold, a 1 ounce in BU, although unlimited mintage, and then a 1 ounce in the proof. I think with that model there alone, it was great, because then it wasn't going to be oversaturation even on sizes. So with that, I knew there was great potential in these coins. And then once the hype train started, there was definitely some gains to be cashed in if you was a cowboy flipper like myself. I'm trying to figure out the prices I paid. I got entry-level prices, so it was either 1,600 euros and I think 60 euros. Couldn't tell off the top of my head right now, but they shot up greatly. I think, if, as I was mentioning, it was the first coin I took advantage of. So on this, at its peak, you was looking at around $450, give or take. I don't know where we are, 350 pound or so, and that's what I sold a large number of them for. Some were graded, some were ungraded, some were raw. It was around the $400 mark. They shot straight up. Dealers who did have them were then releasing them for 150 euros. One of the first proof coins that came out with a 50 euro price tag that dealers had no qualms now selling at 150 euros, 200 euros plus, and this is straight off the press, and this is just off of the hype and just attraction. It's something I'm reluctant to do now for new coins, because I've seen how dealers will act. Just a side note, I spoke with a dealer, I believe this is when we got to the dog, and he was mentioning how he wouldn't increase the prices and yada yada, and little note, to my amazement, he actually went on to increase the prices and told me where he had spoke with another client that said he wanted them by any means. Money will cost us no object. And so he increased the prices. I also found out another story about a dealer that went on and could have also caused the triggering in the insane prices, whereas and it all started with the dog once again, took it upon himself to put the dog up for an astronomical price and on pre-sale without images, and he went on to sell out, and that's what caused a lot of the dealers to use him as an example and then price theirs at this much. Now, from what I understand, this dealer ended up getting penalized, and the guys that produced these coins no longer gave them to him. I think all of that hype went on to hurt the series in the long run, but I think with a lot of the earlier releases like the Rooster, the dog, well, I think it affected just from the dog onwards because of what the dealer's done. And I've always said it was short-sighted on their end, short-term greed, whereas if it would have given more time to mature, even with the guys increasing the mintages on the golds, but, we'll talk on that maybe on another video. But those things didn't help the series, but it still didn't stop the Rooster from going haywire. So, it was one of the first coins that I fully capitalized on. I maxed out. It was great on the gold and on the silver proof. On the BU, I think prices are still technically the same in Europe. I don't know what it's like in America and the rest of the world, but you can practically get these at the pickup price that you got them for when they was first released. Not to forget, the BU's an unlimited mintage. They didn't have no issues or qualms when they pumped them out. These guys have never released mintage figures, so I think they're working off of the process where not releasing it actually works in their favor. It's worked on some of their wildlife coins, but supposedly they ceased minting at the end of the year. So you dealers have got these in abundance. So this is why it didn't appeal to me, but for flipping, but for individuals just wanting to get on the coins, they was a good pickup. I still have mine in the plastic. You have the plastic gate with the Rwandan coins. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I just kept them in there for sake's sake, because it was what it was. But for good flipping terms, for the reasons why I picked up, it did go on to do great. They have leveled a little. Not to forget, these were released in 2017, so they spiked crazy. It was like a massive pump, but it hasn't been a dump. They shot up in price far too quick. A lot of people were hovering around collecting coins at the time. This is before even cryptos went parabolic and just getting involved on the next best coin. And this came out at a time, it was a breath of fresh air. A new series from technically a new guys on the block, so it done fantastically well. It's leveled out now, give or take. You can get this coin for about £200. Where are we? I'd say about $250, but there's none being sold. You may find the other auction, and we never know what that individual selling is. So I think these have found good homes. I personally wouldn't sell for less than what I sold for last time, once again, because there's not many being sold, because a lot of people have picked these up. In the range from the gold and the BU, I think the best potential is going to be in the silver proofs, but I no longer collect the silver proofs. So for individuals out there who wanted to, I still think the best potential is in the silver proofs. They do have room to increase. While I untie my tongue. And graded, of course, offers even more opportunities. This is a coin that didn't grade too well, so in a 70. You're looking at £600 easily, or $650. So, I still think it's a fantastic coin to be in. For me to even be speaking on this so early, since it's only released in 2017, goes to show how much and how well they did do when it did shoot up in price. I think as time goes on, as we get more releases, to date of time of releasing this video, we've had the dog and now the pig. The dog, things did level out. I've seen a lot of dealers get their fingers burnt and, putting the dog up for insane prices. I think one dealer, I believe it was on the dog, we had the frenzy. Literally, you put some proofs up and it was they was gone within an hour. Dealers love this, but sometimes it boggles my mind when I think how dealers can't see it. They must really be so one-track minded. When you're talking collector coins, I know they're scarce and you've got so many duds on your hands, but when you do get hot ones, if you're gonna just gouge and hike up, as a dealer you can do whatever you want to do. Once again, I said you're not a charity, but it's going to fall flat. You'll have a hot coin or a hot series then on the next release that's not going to do nothing, and that's what we're seeing now. Individuals picking them up in the gold, from the dog to the pig, they sell out. The silver proofs do sell out, but they can't now demand such a high premium off the bat. So a lot of dealers hike the prices up on the dog, and dealers that never were involved in these coins before were now left with them sitting on the shelves. So come time for the pig, they came to their senses and prices have leveled out now. Speaking on a series from the same guys that I think really did benefit, because this was a learning curve for them, is the nautical series. Hands down is doing better price wise and, you know, in terms of potential wise than the Lunar series. One, because they obviously listened to what I was saying and kept the mintage at 100. You know, I think they increased the mintage on the gold on the dog way too soon. You know, if you would have had more people locked in, I would say from the fourth at least minimum release, and it just, they didn't get the frenzy. I believe some dealers just got a warning not to go too crazy on the prices, so they are appreciating more, but we're speaking on the Lunars for now. So I think this was more of their learning curve on this 100 mintage coin and 1100 unlimited. So they didn't do that on the wildlife series, but they have recently introduced from the giraffe that I done. But I think this series is going to be fantastic once complete. I think it's going to offer for the long term much better opportunities than the Perth Mint. Not as well known as Perth, but I think because they haven't technically sold out and gone for quarter ounces, 110, 10 ounce and the likes of, it's what you get once done in the silver proof and the gold is what you have. And they have a history of their coins going on to appreciate and demand high premiums. I believe it was the 2008 Gorilla that was you was paying anywhere from £800 upwards. So when you have a gold and a silver proof that are technically better on more favourable mintages, there's most definitely potential there. So I think this, as moves on, is going to only go on and increase more. For the gold, I was able to flip for large amounts, but I may do a separate video on that at a later date. So this is why I picked it up. This is where it is now. I think it still has a lot more room to increase. How well will it appreciate? It jumped up in price so fast. It was a coin that really took off running very early, so it's done very well so far. If you definitely got in at entry level prices or even a little more, you still have nothing to worry about. I think as time goes on, when we get to, I don't know, the 5th or the 6th release, the earlier releases like the Rooster here are going to continue to demand a high premium. So I think it's going to do very well. It done very well for me, and it's just the update on how well I think this coin is going to appreciate in the future. I think it's going to do very well. So if you did pick this up, go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments on how well it's done for you. If you didn't, let me know why. And if you think it's, time over, one of the best or the worst lunar designs, or one lunar too many, also let me know in the comments. So hate or love it, guys. It'd be great to know what you think of this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.